Meta just dropped around 20 ad updates in the last few weeks, and most marketers are going to do the exact same thing with all of them. They'll skim the headlines, feel informed, and then change absolutely nothing. And then 30 to 60 days later, those same people are going to be sitting there confused, saying Meta suddenly got expensive, their leads got weaker, and their tracking just stopped making sense. But here's the thing that none of that is going to be sudden. It was all sitting right there in these updates the whole time. So instead of throwing 20 random bullet points at you, I'm going to show you the 6 bigger shifts hiding inside 20 Meta ad updates. Because Meta is not just changing features, it is changing what an ad should even look like, who gets targeted, where conversion actually happens, and what your dashboard can even measure. And I'll show you exactly how to get results out of all of it. So let's get into it. So let's start with shift 1, because in this first shift, Meta is quietly changing what your ads are even supposed to feel like. And there are 6 updates in here that all point to the exact same conclusion. So let's go through them. The first one is threads. So Meta just added threads into dynamic URL parameters. It now shows up as th in the source name and as threads stream as a placement. Now most people are going to look at that and think, cool, nerdy little update, who cares? But this is exactly how Meta rolled out Reels. First an organic push, then creators adopted, then finally ad monetization, right? Seeing the pattern over there? So what this really is telling you is that Meta is getting threads ready to become a proper inventory source. And here's the part most people are going to miss. Threads is fundamentally a text-first, conversation-driven platform, which means your polished, designed in a studio creative is probably going to underperform there. So what's actually going to perform or work is opinionated hooks, native-looking content, and conversational angles. Stuff that feels like it belongs in the feed, not the stuff that looks like an ad. So what do you do right now? Don't go and start designing threads ads yet. Okay, it's way too early. Don't do that. Instead, go and study what already gets attention organically. Open thread, search your competitors, gather the posts that crossed 1,000 likes, and learn the patterns. Because when the paid inventory really opens up, which it will soon be, the people who already understand the platform's language are going to buy cheap attention, and everyone else is going to show up late and call it a bad platform because they don't know what really works over there. And Threads isn't some isolated update. It's the first signal that Meta is widening what even counts as a good ad. And the next update pushes that same idea even further. So the second update is live video ads. You can now create a live video ad directly from Ads Manager, but only if you already have a live video scheduled or running on your Facebook page, and then you can promote it as an ad. And this is Meta pushing real-time, low-polish, honestly kind of ugly ads, okay? And if you think about it, live content actually solves the biggest problem that most ads have, which is lack of trust. Now, because of these reasons, I think most brands are not going to use this well, because going live makes them uncomfortable and they need to hire or they need to have an assembly line created to do so. They would rather hide behind editing and design, which I've seen across so many brands doing it still. I don't know why. But that discomfort is exactly where the opportunity is here. So if you sell something that benefits from product demos or answering objections live or showing behind the scenes, then you are not just running ads anymore. You are building real-time conversion through trust. Does that make sense? So now moving on to our third update, which is the Friends tab. Meta is now pushing feed ads into the Friends tab, which is a much more personal relationship heavy environment, which means the ad that wins over there cannot feel like it barged in with a megaphone. It has to feel like it belongs there, okay? So software entry, more native tone, and a lot less of that buy now. Well, it should happen with all the kind of placements, but yeah, like now you're being forced to do so. So over here, your ad needs to be native, relatable, and non-intrusive. Because if your ad screams, I'm an ad, it dies there instantly. Like over here, it will definitely die instantly. Think about it. But if it feels like something a real person would actually stop for, then it's got a shot. Therefore, ugly ads matter more than ever. So moving on to the next couple, still under this first shift only, which is updates 4 and 5, where which are Advantage plus Creative and Creative formats. So the first one is image touch-ups under Advantage plus Creative for catalog ads. Meta can now automatically crop your creatives and adapt them into 4:5 and 9:16 formats. Now this is helpful, but here's the part you have to keep in mind. Automation is not the same thing as optimization. Just because Meta resized your creative does not mean it optimized it for attention. Things like your hook placement, your text overlays, your visual hierarchy, all of that still matters. So design your creatives natively for each format first, and then let Meta handle the rest. Don't let the automation replace the thinking. And this doesn't stop at just resizing, because Meta is now changing how your creatives get displayed entirely, if you think about it. The old flexible and collection formats are being replaced with something called format display options, which basically means you upload one set of creatives and then Meta decides how to display them across placements. So one set of assets can now show up dynamically as a single image or video or a carousel or a collection, based on whatever Meta thinks performs best over there. But here's a catch. One bad creative will now scale faster across all of those formats too. And now the last update, which is update 6 in this particular shift, the CTA. If you turn an existing organic post into an ad, the call to action can now live only on the ad version without changing your original organic post, which gives you a lot more flexibility, because earlier your organic post and your ad had to share the exact same structure. But now you can keep your organic content clean and only add the conversion focused CTAs on the ad. So that is it for the shift 1, and the takeaway is clear. Meta is rewarding ads that feel more native, that travel better across surfaces, and that flex more easily across placements. And once the definition of a good ad gets wider like this, your targeting naturally gets broader too. Which brings us straight to shift 2. So shift 2 covers next 3 updates, and these are all about changes Meta made to your targeting. So the 7th update is age targeting. Meta now lets you target users with unknown ages. And I know that sounds risky because traditionally less data meant worse targeting, but here's the actual shift. Meta is moving from data-based targeting to behavior-based targeting, which means less reliance on demographics and more reliance on your creatives. That has been the theme for a very long time. Because when the targeting broadens like this, your creative becomes the filter. So if your creative is weak, let's say, you're just going to burn money faster. And I've been saying that for a very long time. Now it is even becoming more apparent. The next signal here is retargeting. So the 8th update, which is website custom audiences. Meta may now supplement your website custom audiences with your Facebook shop and Instagram shop audiences. So your targeting pool gets wider, but it also gets noisier, which means higher volume, but also mixed intent, all under the same umbrella. Now, how do you handle that? You start watching your performance carefully, and if your CPA starts climbing, you break those audience back down and try to regain the control. And that is exactly why the next update matters. So the 9th update is retargeting filters. Meta now gives you much better retargeting conditions, frequency-based and recency-based filtering. So you can now set 2 conditions when you build an audience. There's an at least filter, which is how many times they engaged, and then in the past filter, which is when they engaged, and that matters because someone who clicked once 45 days ago is not the same person as someone who engaged 3 times in the last 3 weeks. And now you can actually separate them. So you can tell Meta only include those people who have engaged at least 3 times in the last 7 days, and that's your high intent group. Or you can ask for people who engaged 30 to 60 days ago, and that's your re-engagement group. This is intent filtering, and this is really cool. And when you combine it with right message, you can match high intent with a direct offer, mid intent with education, and low intent with re-engagement. Now this is genuinely useful and huge, but only if your audience pool is big enough. Because if you overfilter a small audience, you end up paying high CPC with lower conversion rate, and your delivery just falls apart. So use this to create clarity, not to suffocate your reach. And that wraps up our shift 2. So shift 3 is all about conversations. So updates 10 and 11 are all about WhatsApp metrics. Meta introduced 2 new metrics to track WhatsApp conversions, WhatsApp channel follows, and cost per WhatsApp channel follow. So Meta is not just tracking immediate purchases anymore, it is trying to make your own messaging audiences measurable, which tells you exactly what Meta wants you to do: build an audience first and monetize second. Because not everything has to close on the first click itself. And to support that, Meta also added WhatsApp number collection directly inside your instant forms, and people can now jump straight into a WhatsApp chat right after they submit. So just look at what's happening to the flow over here. Instead of ad to landing page to form to lead, it's becoming ad to WhatsApp to conversation to conversion. And if you are in a market like India, this is a massive thing because attention on WhatsApp is so much higher than any other platform if you think about it. Therefore, do not read these as vanity metrics, because a strong owned messaging list can genuinely change your business. And you can already see Meta trying to bring this same change into Messenger too. So update 12, Messenger AI lead collection. Meta's business AI can now collect leads directly inside the chat conversations. So instead of sending someone off to a form, the chat itself becomes the form. The AI just asks for the name, the address, the contact details, all right there inside Messenger. And that cuts your friction massively. And for certain funnels, it removes the need for a landing page entirely. So now just pause and connect these shifts for a second. First, Meta changed your creative environment, then it loosened your targeting. Now it's moving your conversion into the chat. And once your conversions starts happening through follows and chats and all this engagement heavy behavior, one thing breaks next: your reporting. And that is the part I told you not to miss, which brings us to shift 4. So the shift 4 is where your Meta dashboard starts lying to you. So update 13 and 14 are basically the attribution change. And these are a big one because a lot of people are going to panic after this. And if you don't understand this, you are going to switch off campaigns that are still doing their job. So earlier, the cycle used to be like this. Someone liked your ad, commented, shared it, and bought later. And all of that still counted as a conversion. Okay. But since March 17th, that's not the case anymore because a 7-day click now only counts as a conversion after an actual link click. So think about it. So your reported conversions have suddenly dropped because a lot of those actions which a user performed and they converted later on would not be counted as conversions. But your real performance did not drop. Okay. So what happens to all those other conversions? Well, you can now see them under something called 1-day engagement, but only if they convert within 24 hours. If they go past that, they are just gone. They don't get tracked. So earlier the window used to be like really huge. Now it's just 24, right? And with this, Meta is also splitting attribution more clearly into two buckets, which is click-through, and which is only for link clicks that actually led somewhere, and the other one is engage-through, so which is your likes, comments, shares, saves, and video views. And now this matters more because earlier all of those interactions got counted under click. So someone liking your ad, saving it, and then buying later was still credited as click-through conversion, which inflated your numbers earlier, but also hid what was really driving your results. And now Meta is forcing that separation. So only real intent actions, which are like actual clicks, count as click-through, and everything else gets pushed into engage-through. Keep that in mind. So these two updates, according to me, are huge. And this is exactly why I keep saying the real danger here is bad interpretation. And that's the reason why I created the company Tracosity. Because if you just trust what Meta Ads Manager shows you at face value, you will make bad decisions faster than ever before. And the next two updates which I'm going to share make your reporting even more surface level. So let me show you how. So updates 15 and 16 are reporting enhancements. If you run call ads, you can now track your call volume, your call quality, and your customer interactions, which is genuinely important according to me, because call ads used to be a total black box. And now you get real visibility into what happens after the click. And the second one is inside Ads Manager, which is Meta added quick view breakdowns. So you can instantly see your results value and your ROAS across campaigns without digging through multiple layers, which makes your analysis faster. But here's a deeper thing that is going on, according to me. Meta is trying to keep you making all of your decisions inside its own ecosystem. But you have to remember the speed of data is not the same as the accuracy of the data. Now, what does that mean? Because convenient reporting is not the same thing as complete reporting. A fast, useful dashboard can still be showing you an incomplete picture, which is happening in this case. And this is exactly where Tracosity becomes useful. Because if you're making your decisions only off Meta's in-platform numbers now, you're basically driving with one eye closed. And why I'm saying that? Because Meta is still taking attribution from other platforms. And Tracosity connects that missing picture for you with a first-party view of your attribution, your customer value, and your full conversion paths. So that you stop switching off campaigns that are actually working and you stop trusting numbers that are just flattering you for no reason. Even though Meta has taken a direction or step in that direction where it is showing you or trying to show you data with full transparency, but it's still not able to do a good job. If you want to set up Tracosity properly, the link for that is down below too. Because I think my tracking is fine is absolutely how people stay blind for 6 whole months. So once you stop blindly trusting your surface level ROAS, let's get back into the updates and see how Meta is trying to optimize in the next shift. So in shift 5, Meta is answering one question by pushing you from vanity metrics towards actual business economics. So update 17 is about profit optimization. And this is where it gets serious because Meta is slowly moving away from ROAS. Yeah, you heard me right. And instead it's going for focus more on profit, which honestly I think was long overdue because revenue is not profit, right? And a cheap customer who refunds or only buys once is not the same as customer who buys again, spends more, and sticks around. Well, Meta is obviously not able to give you new returning or new acquisition cost, but still it's a good step in the right direction. So if Meta can optimize closer to your real customer value instead of just raw purchase count, that is a genuine shift. But here's a problem. A lot of you still don't know actually what your real margin is, what your LTV is, what your payback window is, or what a good customer even looks like. And Meta cannot, frankly speaking, fix that for you. So if your internal numbers are a mess, then profit optimization just becomes a fancy button sitting on top of bad business logic. And once Meta thinks it knows where your value is, it starts nudging your budget harder. And that is the next update. So update 18 is budget behavior. Meta is now getting a lot more aggressive with its budget recommendations around high opportunity windows. So for example, Meta might push you to scale because conversions are suddenly coming in cheaper. But your backend might not be able to handle that volume. Your margins might shrink and your lead quality might even drop. So blindly accepting those suggestions is dangerous. Instead, use those recommendations as signals, not as decisions. Because at the end of the day, scaling is not about opportunity, it's about sustainability. And once the game becomes profit, speed starts to matter even more. Because now the bottleneck is no longer what should I do? It becomes how fast can I actually do it properly? And that brings us to our final shift, which is shift 6. And this one is all about Manus. Manus is an AI agent that can handle multi-step tasks for you. And I've already uploaded one video around Manus on my channel. You can go ahead and check it out. And one of the important meta-related changes here is that it can now connect Instagram's creator marketplace. So instead of manually digging through creators one by one, you can just prompt it to shortlist relevant creators for you way faster. And that turns creator sourcing from a people-heavy task into more of an ecosystem. But it doesn't stop there, because Manus can now also connect directly to your Meta Ads Manager, which we obviously know, which means you can use it to analyze your performance. And that's why I created the video for that one. So you can go ahead and check that particular thing out, okay? And since we know that the Meta's dashboard doesn't have the data which is perfectly accurate, so use it for speed, not for final decisions. Go ahead, have one first-party attribution tool like Retargeting, because the advantage here is no longer the access. Everyone gets the access. The advantage over here is how relevant and correct your data is. So when you zoom all the way out on this, then these are not 20 random meta updates. It's actually one single story. Meta is widening your placements. It's rewarding more native looking creatives. It is broadening your targeting. It is moving your conversions into the chat. It is tightening your attribution. And it is pushing you towards profit instead of just prettier dashboard numbers. And on top of all of it, it is giving faster operators more leverage. And yes, you have less manual control than you had before, but if you actually understand the system, you also have way more leverage than before. And if your creative is weak, no amount of targeting hacks is going to save you now. Now look, all of this only actually helps you if you go and apply it to your own account. But the honest truth is, most people won't. They'll feel informed and then change nothing. So if you don't want to be in that group, here's your move. Go into the description and book an audit call. You'll get on a call with my team. They'll go through your account and they'll find single biggest thing that's actually holding you back right now. And from there, if it's a fit, that's when we talk about working together. But they only take a few of these every week. So the link is in the description. Go and grab your slots before it's gone. And if this helped, go ahead and subscribe, because Meta is not going to slow down. And I would genuinely rather you hear the shift early than pay for it late. And also tell me in the comment section, which of these changes are you actually going to test first? And which one do you think most advertisers are going to ignore until it hurts? I think. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.